The purpose of this video is to show geology majors and minors at Augustana College how to create an ePortfolio. The ePortfolio is a requirement for every geology major at Augustana College, and we ask that you create it no later than the very beginning of the term in which you take Geology 450, the Research Methods course, although we encourage you to take it earlier or to create it earlier than that. Why do we do this? The ePortfolio is a place for you to showcase your professional work. You may eventually use it, or at least part of it, as a marketing tool. You could share it with potential employers. You can use it to exhibit your writing and your public speaking skills and things like that. The sky's the limit on what you do with this. We also use these ePortfolios as a platform for you to do your personal reflection. This is another required component of our senior inquiry and our entire major in geology is we ask you to periodically pause and think about what your geology major means to you. Where do you think you're going with this? How did different experiences such as field trips or certain courses affect you? And so you'll be completing the reflection on your ePortfolio. We will read these periodically. It's personal. It's very informal. We don't have a real set way for you to do the reflection, and we don't grade it really critically. We just like to see that you're thinking about your experiences at Augustana in our program and how that affects you. So let's take a look at a really nice one. This is an ePortfolio that was completed by Lauren Kierick. She was a geology major who graduated in 2014. And she was also a graphic arts major or minor and did some really fantastic work with her ePortfolio. I like to really mention this ePortfolio because Lauren honestly says that it helped her get her job right out of college with Apache Oil Corporation in Texas. They were very impressed with the way that she assembled this and the way that she was very aware of her skills and what she could do for them and her creativity. And we encourage you to use your ePortfolio that way as well. So you've got a home page you start off with. There's a page of biographical information, and you'll be personalizing this, of course. A page for your resume. You should be always have an updated resume and periodically upload newer versions of your resume to your ePortfolio. That's also a requirement for Geology 450. There's a section here of her senior inquiry. She's got a whole copy of her final draft of her thesis here. And so it's archived there. It's a nice place to keep it, as well as earlier drafts. And there's a big section on reflection. And I'm not going to go through this, but in these different portions here, she reflected on different experiences at Augustana. Then she also added to her ePortfolio, you're welcome to do this as well, she added a bunch of features on her GIS skills, maps that she had made, examples of writing assignments, and so forth. So it's really a nice example, and I wanted to draw your attention. So how are we going to get there? First thing you need to do is go to GeoDrive. On Google Drive, GeoDrive is a shared documents folder for geology students. If for some reason you don't see it, if it's not shared with you, you need to email me, Dr. Strasser, and I'll make sure that it is shared with you. And when you open up GeoDrive, you see a whole bunch of folders with what we hope is helpful information of all kinds of things, professional development, careers, jobs, resumes, research opportunities, senior inquiry poster, teaching advice, research advice, all kinds of things. Spend some time with this. We're going to look at ePortfolios. There are a couple files in this folder that you need to be aware of. First one, very important, when you make an ePortfolio, for us to actually legally have access to it, you need to sign a consent form. So print this out and sign it and give it to me or to Susan Wolf, and we'll keep a record of that. This actually gives us permission to share your ePortfolio like I just did with Lauren's, but be aware that we don't we don't share them with the world. Occasionally we'll look at one and share some of the work that might be there, say with alumni who are here visiting the college, and as part of a review committee or things like that, we may show some portions of this, but we use great discretion. So we ask you to complete that. And then there is also a file here, a document here that goes through the steps of creating an ePortfolio, basically what I'm going to show you on this video as well. There are a couple steps on this page, at least as it currently exists, that may be outdated according to newer versions. So let's get started. Let's make an ePortfolio. To do that, you just need to be signed into Google, and you're going to click on the checkerboard, and we're using the Google tools to make these ePortfolios. It's basically a web page. So you're going to click on Sites, and the Google Sites gives you a way to create and store web pages. And you could use it for other things as well. So you're going to come to this, and these are web pages that have been shared with me over the years. There's a lot more than that. You're going to click on Create. We ask you to work within classic sites because we've created a template there for you to use. The new sites, I haven't figured out a way to import the template. So use classic sites. And the template you're going to find from this page now, you could create your own, but we ask you to start with the one that we've created. So you're going to browse the gallery, and the easiest way to do this is just type in Geology, and you should find a template there. This is it, the Geology Departmental ePortfolio. Click on that, and that's going to basically create it for you, and then all you need to do is personalize it. So we're going to select that. And then you're going to name your site. This is going to be important for us to keep track of these things. We ask you to name it with your first name, your last name, and then your year of graduation. So I'm going to put Fritjof Fryxell as the student, and then I think he graduated in 1921. I believe. I might be wrong on that, but that's close. So there's this site name, and this will actually go then into the URL. So we're going to create that. Go ahead and click Create, and it takes a few seconds here. And we'll have a new ePortfolio for Fritjof Fryxell. There it is. Ta-da. Okay, so the template we've made has these standard colors. You can modify that. You can do all kinds of things. The first thing you need to do, though, is share it with the faculty. So you're going to come up a couple ways you can do this, but the easiest way is just click on the blue Share button. And you'll see right now that it's private, only you have access to it. So you want to invite other people. And the easiest way to do this, you could share it with individual faculty members, but the easiest way is just to type in GEOL ePortfolios. That is an email address that all the faculty members in the geology department have access to. So you just need to type that. It should recognize it right away. So GEOL ePortfolios, and then click Send, and then it'll take a few seconds, and you should see it popping up here. And there it is. Okay, so that means that this username has access to your ePortfolio, and that username, meaning all the faculty members in our department, also have editing privileges. I'm going to change that to just View if you don't want us to monkey around. Not that we would anyway, but you might want to just change that to View. Save changes, and we're good to go. Okay, it is saving, and now we're going to click back and go back to this page here. So here's the template, and now you're going to work within this and edit it. So a number of things that you want to do here. If you want to edit some of the text, you're going to personalize this. So you click on this little icon up here, and it changes to a text editor. You're only editing the text here in the active window. So this is my ePortfolio, something like that. So you may want to change the very home page, Geology Department ePortfolio, something like that. You can personalize this. The first page isn't quite as important. If at any time you want to see what the actual web page looks like, you have to come up to preview page as viewer that you access underneath the cog wheel there. Preview page as viewer, that'll open up a separate window, and that's what somebody else would see the page as. So you can always see what the changes look like. So I'm going to come back to the editing page. And you'll go through these various pages. The GeoDrive here, that's just a link to the GeoDrive. We already went through that. Biographical information here, we want you to fill this out. Oops, hit the edit button. And you'll be putting in your name and then any other biographical information you want to share on your ePortfolio. You've got a whole subpage here for your resume. You can upload multiple drafts of it, which you should do. That's an easy one to do. And then another subpage for senior inquiry. We ask that you upload multiple drafts here, as well as your eventual poster and your final draft, and even your PowerPoint presentation of your final presentation during your senior year. Reflection is the big one here. So if you click on reflection, there are multiple subcategories here. We ask you to take a look at after your junior year. We ask you to reflect after you've taken Geology 451. If you've got an ePortfolio as a sophomore, you may want to spend a few minutes after your sophomore year. Big one though that we really look for are field trips. So if you click on field trips, you can add something. So we're going to click on new post, and let's say you went to the give it a title, Tucson Gem and Mineral Show. Oops, misspelled it. Show 2018. And then in this window, you can add your reflection. There it is. Okay, and then once you're done, you're going to, of course, be more thorough than I am. Click Save. And there it is. If we go back to the field trips subpage, we could then click on new post and add another field trip, say the Grand Canyon trip or any other field trips you go on. So please spend a little time. After when you're on a field trip, maybe on your way home from the Grand Canyon, you're waiting for a plane at the airport, you could even do this on your phone. Get on it and click and spend 5 or 10 minutes talking about what this field trip did for you at some point. And we will periodically look at these ePortfolios. Writing assignments, PowerPoints, you can put examples of your writing here. You've got term papers you could put on there, videos of presentations for various classes. We usually videotape your presentations, and we share those with you. And you can either put the video on here or simply add a link to a YouTube, which probably is more likely the case. A couple other things. If you come up to the cogwheel here, a few things I want to draw your attention to. Edit site layout. Be really careful with this. If you click on this, you can change whether you have a header or a sidebar and all these kinds of things. You can change what the header looks like. You can put it your own picture here. But be really careful, because if you change it, it's hard to go back sometimes to the way it is. And there's not an easy way to change the size of that picture that you put in there. I've kind of struggled with that. So be really careful with that kind of stuff. You're welcome to work with it, and we encourage you to, but be careful. You may want to save a backup copy of your ePortfolio just in case. Okay. And now I'm going to go back to my page. What else do I want to show you here? Manage site. There are a lot of options under here. These are tagged words that you could search for, that we'll search for, so keep those the way they are, please. And you can use this function to make a copy of your page. So if you do any major editing, you may want to have a backup copy. If you really screw things up and want to delete it, there's the button to do that. And so that has some good things too. If you want to change the themes and colors, you're welcome to do that. You just click on that, and then if you come up to the top here, the easiest thing to do is just choose another theme. Ice, whatever. You can customize it to your heart's content. So there it is. I just changed the color from nice earth tones to a more glacially focused theme. Come on. Saving. All right, and I'm almost out of time. That's about it, and